Hey, hello everyone, and you're welcome. Now, in this short Python program lesson, I'm going to show you how you can build a simple program to take a screenshot using Python. It's going to come complete with a GUI window, and this program is just going to have over less than 40 lines of code. So this is the program running. Let me just go ahead and click on it to show you an example. But first, let me just go ahead and drop down these two menus so we could just have an example of taking this screenshot. So right here, I'm just going to drop this down, and I'm just going to click on screenshot. And I'm just going to call that screen 1. Right, so we're just going to call that screen 1, and I'm going to drop screen 1 on the desktop like that. So let's just go ahead and save it. So we have this saved as a JPEG file. So if I go ahead and open my documents right here, and I go back to my desktop, and I search for screen 1, there it is. We can actually see that we have this screen right here, and we have that. So but before we go ahead and check out the program and see how we can do it, please remember that you can actually get my Python course. Let me just go ahead and show you that course real quick. So guys, so you can check out my course, how to build GUI apps with Python and Tkinter. We'll be building about 7 different applications with this course, and I also start from scratch. So I'm gonna take it easy if you're a beginner, so we're gonna build from scratch. Also, you can check out more of my courses, learn Python from scratch, and you're gonna build 10 programs. And then there is a practical guide to coding with Python, which just focuses on building Python. And also, if you're a graphics person and want to learn Photoshop, CS6, you can actually go ahead and check this course. So that's enough said. So with that said, let's just go ahead and start building our program. I'm also going to provide the links to the scripts so you can have access to the Python scripts and also the logo we're going to be using for this course. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is to create an empty Python project, and we're going to call that screenshot, right? So just create a Python file, call it screenshots, and save it somewhere. Now I'm using Python 3.8. So the first thing we're going to do is to check if we have PyAutoGUI installed. So first I'm just going to open the command line. I'm just going to say pip install PyAutoGUI. PyAutoGUI is built by Al Swigart. Right? Al Swigart, is that how to pronounce his name? I'm not really sure, but it's built by Al Swigart, and he has provided this code for free, this module for free, and we're going to use this module to actually do the screenshot program. So first I'm going to create a comment. I'm just going to say a program that takes, or that rather saves, a screenshot. Alright, so that's going to be our program name. So now I'm going to just write written by Mahmouz, written by me. And then right now we're going to create our imports. So I'm just going to say imports. So first we're going to import the PyAutoGUI. Import PyAutoGUI. Let's make sure we get that spelling right. And also we're going to import Tkinter as an alias TK. Sorry about that, guys. And from Tkinter, we're going to import the file dialog, because the file dialog is going to be used to actually get access to our file location. So I'm just going to say file dialog, just like that. Also from Tkinter, I'm going to import TTK. From Tkinter, I want to import TTK. TTK is going to be used to create some custom functionality to our button. So next thing I'm going to do is just to create our root window. So just say create the root window, and our root window is going to be the area where we're going to draw out everything. So first I'm going to set the root is going to be equal to tk.tk, which is the class instance that's going to set the root window. And next I'm going to set a title. So I'm just going to say root.title, and let's just call that let's say screen grabber. Why not? Yeah, let's just call that screen grabber. Next I'm going to set the geometry, which is going to be the size of the screen. So I'm just going to say root.geometry. Oops, if I don't type that right, I'm totally going to get errors. And then we'll pass in a width of 300 by a height of 100 pixels. So you have to pass it in strings or else you're going to get an error. And finally, I'm just going to set the root.icon bitmap. And I'm going to set that icon to cam.ico. So if you copy the link, you'll find out in the link, in the link you'll find out I have the icon, and I also have the folder. If you don't need to use the icon, fine, you could just skip it, but make sure that the script and the icons are in the same folder. So now we've set that up. The next thing we're going to do is to create our UI elements. So let's just say creating the UI elements. So for this, I'm just first going to create a label. So I'm just going to say tk.label, and let's be really mindful of our spellings. And the parent window is going to be the root window. And for the text, I'm just going to set the text to let's say click the button to save your screenshot, just like that. And next, I'm just going to set a font. I'm going to set it to 10. I'm going to set a foreground color, FG for short. I'm going to set it to black. And then a background color. Let's set that to Alice Blue. But you can set it to any color you want. I actually like Alice Blue. That's why I'm setting it to Alice Blue. So next, we're just going to create the grid. So I'm just going to say label.grid. So I can pass this empty, so it means it's going to be in row 0, column 0. So we don't need to actually pass that information. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create the button. So I'm just going to say my button equals ttk.button, and it's going to be a child of the root window. And for the text, I'm just going to call this click me, just like that. And next, I'm going to set the button grid. So I'm just going to say button.grid, and let's set that to row equals 1 and the column to be equal to 0. So now I've set that row and column. Let's define our function that is going to handle the events when we create that. So next, I'm just going to say create a comment and say defining our function and handling exceptions. Right, so whenever an error occurs, let's say the user just opens the button, opens the folder location and doesn't select anything, we don't want the program to crash. So that's the essence of this section right now. So next, I'm just going to define our button. So I'm just going to say def the function, I'm going to call it take screenshot, and I'm going to use an event. So next, I'm going to pass in a try block to catch my errors. So I'm going to say my screenshot. So let's create an object and then call PyAutoGUI.screenshot. So I'm just going to say PyAutoGUI.screenshot. So this will save the object of the PyAutoGUI. And next, I want to have two file types, a PNG and a JPEG. So I'm going to create a list that will contain the file types. So I'm just going to say file underscore types. So within that list, let's just go ahead and create the file type. So I'm just going to say JPEG files, and then I'm going to pass in that comma. I'm just going to say dot JPEG is going to be one file type, and another file type I'm just going to pass in PNG files. So I'm just going to say PNG files, and then comma the file type, I'm just going to say dot PNG. And then finally for all files, right, so let's just go ahead and say all files. So I'm going to use comma, and I'll use the wildcard symbol, which is the asterisk symbol for all file types. And we're done with that. So next we're going to get the path. So for the path, what we want to do is when we click the button, it's going to open up the file path. So that's where we're going to use the file dialog, and within the file dialog method we have an ask save files name method. So let's go ahead and see that in action. So I'm just going to say file underscore path. So next I'm going to say file dialog dot ask save as file name, and this is going to accept a file underscore types. So it's going to accept an argument of file types, and we're going to do it this way. So let's say a file types. I'm going to set the file types argument to the file types that we created right here. So I'm just being careful to check my spelling. Even if I make a mistake, it's going to be something else. And let's set a default extension. So let's say default extension. So you can actually choose here. I'm just going to choose .png for the startup extension that is going to use. So next I'm going to say my screenshot dot, and then I'm going to use the save method. So I'm just going to say my screenshot, which is the object we created right here, which is this object, my screenshot dot save, and we're going to pass in the file path, just like that. So next we're going to accept a value error. So I'm just going to say accept value error, and I'm simply going to just print out, just have some real estate to work with right here. I'm just going to say please save the screenshot. Let's see, we're going to ask the user to save it as a PNG or JPEG file. Alright, so next what I'm going to do is to bind the button. So I'm just going to say my button dot bind. So that's why I'm using the event. We could actually pass in a command right here within this definition for our button right here. We could pass in we could do this and say command is going to be equal to, then we pass in the name of the script, the name of the function rather, called screenshot. But generally it's good practice to use events to handle button clicks. So that's why I'm going to use the my button.bind. I'm going to bind it to left click, and for left click it's going to accept a button -1. So that's the code for left click, and then we're going to pass in the method. So the method is take screenshot, just like that. So now that we have that, let's just start the main loop window. Let's say starting the main loop window. So I'm going to use if name, if double underscore name underscore underscore equals to underscore underscore main. So this is simply going to check if we're running the script directly or we're calling the script from another class. We're not calling it from another class, we're running it directly. So it's actually going to work because we're calling the script directly. So now that we have that, let's save it, and there might be some errors, but hey, you know what, the more mistakes we make, the better we're going to get. So let's go ahead and see. So it says click the button to save your screenshot. So if I just close it like that, we don't get an error. So let's go ahead and run it again. So it says click the button to save your screenshot. So if I go to click me and cancel out, so we're getting that try except block working, because it's saying please save the screenshot as a PNG or JPEG. So there's a typo here. Let me just go ahead and get rid of that S, because we don't want that case of all your base to belong to us. So let's just go ahead and let's save the file as JJJKKK, whatever thingy we want to save the file as. And let's just go ahead and have this right here. So this is what we want to take, this image. So let's just go ahead and click me. I'll just see a new screen and then click on save. So if we go ahead and close that and go back to our desktop, and let's look for a new screen. There it is. So we actually have built a simple program that actually takes a screenshot, and then we can actually go and have access to that screenshot. Now you might ask, this might be overkill because we have shortcut buttons you could just press to create a screenshot. Well, this just shows you there are a lot of other things you can do, and PyAuto GUI, which is the script we're using, the module we're using rather, this one PyAuto GUI can actually do a lot of functionality. You can automate your mouse movement, but we just want to keep it simple. We start simple and then get complex. I think that's how it works. So with that said, this is a simple program that you can use to build a screenshot program. Once again, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my courses on Python. They're actually running on 79% off, so you can actually save a little bucks. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next quick tip.